So today I'm going to show you how I kit up for diamond painting. Thanks for joining. So one of the things that I do when I'm kitting is I actually take a dryer sheet. It is simply nothing more than a dryer sheet. And since there's not a whole lot, I'm going to use one of these Elizabeth Wards. It's a small container. And I'm going to open it up. I'm going to actually open up the little baggie that these diamond drills came in, pour them out over this. You know how the dryer sheets in your laundry are to help with static cling? Well, it does the same thing for these little diamond drills. So I'm going to get them all out of there. I may leave one or two in there just so that I can verify that yes, this is that color. I do save these baggies for later because whenever I'm finished, I want to also put them back in that baggie. So I typically rub, see if I can make sure I'm showing you what I'm doing there. So I have all the little tiny drills inside of there, and I am rubbing them with this new dryer sheet simply to help get rid of all the static that's in it. Then I'm just going to use the dryer sheet to pour them into, trying not to make a mess, but I am making one anyway. You can see that there's some trash. This is considered trash. Well, picked it up and dropped it. That would be trash. And that is just something that is going to be left over from when the machines make these little diamond dots. They sometimes don't totally get them apart or break them apart properly, or as it's being dropped down into the baggies, it pulls the trash with them. It's not going to make a big difference. So this says it's 155. I have this sheet that I've just now starting to use. I got this off of Amazon, but I also noticed that a lot of accessories with diamond paintings have these. So I've decided to go ahead and use this instead of handwriting it or pulling the labels off of the baggie. So I have 155, 154, put that aside. The next one is 157. All I'm going to do is continue with opening and putting each of these little, this is one of the reasons why I always do this. Sometimes these baggies are hard to open. And when you're opening and closing them constantly, putting the drills, colored drills out on your, to put out in your trays for your paintings, and see how much static has got this clinging inside the bag. So it definitely needs this dryer sheet. And sometimes the static is caused simply because of the plastic. So anyway, I'm going to continue to do this until I have all of my baggies into one of these little containers. And when it's finished, I'll show you what it looks like. One thing that I definitely noticed, especially when I started unpacking all of these, and you can see I've already unpacked quite a few and put them into these little containers. And also off of, I got this off of Amazon, but this comes with 4 different sheets, so you could do at least 4 different kits. I also have done this before. This is full of leftover round beads, but you can see I had to handwrite, so I may go and transfer my handwritten ones back with this, just because my handwriting is so bad. But I've already kitted up almost all of my drills for this upcoming painting, except for the last 2. So I thought I would show you what I do when I do unpack these. So I take these, and this is just simply a dryer sheet, and you'll see why. You know, I don't know if it's just this type of packaging when they stay inside of these plastic bags or not, but they end up with a lot of static cling. This one not so bad, thank goodness. But I do save these. I put them off to the side. Since there were more, I thought that I would use some of these larger ones. So if more of the beads came in than the smaller amounts, then I usually would use what's considered a small container. I'm dumping them out the backside. So as you noticed, I did sort of manipulate them inside of the dryer sheet, and what that will do for me is actually, well, it helps get rid of a lot of the static cling. Let's see if I can push all these up and scoop them all off my table into my little container. Thankfully that one doesn't have a whole bunch of static cling. Maybe I should be knocking these off into my dryer sheet. Okay, so 977. So my last one is 3609, and I actually have a couple of other colored beads there, but just push them to the side and I'll grab them in a minute. Goodness, I have them all over the place. So I have found that for the most part, these smaller amounts of beads, and as you can see, these little plastic baggies are very difficult to always get open. Another reason why I like using these little containers. And on this one, it really, see all the static? It's going to take a bit to work all of those little tiny drills out. And this just drives me crazy. So this is the main reason why I kit them up into a different type of container for when I'm actually doing the diamond painting. Now when I'm just storing the extras, I do typically put the squares back in this, and I'll show you. This is from another painting that I did, and these are all the extras left over after I completed that painting. I have them in alphabetical order, and I may go through here and see if some of the colors are the same as what I need on here, and if I run out, I have extras. That particular setup is from this painting, which is considered a mandala. I haven't framed it or put any Mod Podge or anything over it, but I do like that one. And can you see how sparkly and shiny it is? That one's finished. And those drills are what are left over from that one. But while I'm working on them, see, these containers are nice and easy and they fit down inside. This is considered the tiny, and then there's the small, and then they have a much, much larger size. I'm going to say that's probably large. I rarely use, I don't know that I've ever actually used this size for anything. And then these Elizabeth Ward containers also come in a box. These are all from one that I'm working on right now. Look at all those pretty colors. So when I start working on these, I will transfer these into this container, because then it's just easier to pop them up and use. So I'm going to manipulate these again. Let me finish with the last one. I do sort of rub them in this dryer sheet, trying to rub off all that static. Let's see if I can make less of a mess this time. Okay, so I have now completed and kitted up for this painting. Now this painting I showed you in a previous video, I've already got it ready to go. All you do is just peel back and work, since this is such a small one. I've already forgotten what size this is supposed to be. Let's see if it says somewhere on here. This is a 20 by 20, so it's fairly small. But I am ready to go. But let me show you some other storage solutions. So I've already showed you this one. I do have an empty one, but there's also another one, and I've actually not used this yet. This is with the round bottles, and they have little screw tops that you would put the drills. These would go in here, and then you just screw the top on, and then you could put a label on it. I typically have used this. These are all my round extras, and I already have 2 of these full of just extras of the rounds, which is why, well, when I empty these, like I showed you, I usually put them back into the Ziploc baggies so I can use these for my next painting. So there you have it. I typically would turn around and store them in just in I've got a makeup bag that I put my extras in. And that's it. I should be ready to go with this painting when I get ready to start it. Thanks for joining me.